Hi, Jonathan here, and we're on to day 35 of our journey, 5th of October. Yeah, what I'm going to do today really is do a sort of recap on the month. So, what I want to do is to look at that review of that first 30 days. I want to share with you the metrics dashboard I've created and how that's starting to get populated with information now, and the sort of split test we've been running, and also set out some goals for the coming month, and a brief mention about VAT, sales tax, to anybody else. Okay, so just before we get into that, let's do a quick update on where we're at. Yesterday we did actually 772 dollars in sales with an ad spend. So annoying that. With an ad spend of say 344 in dollars. Let's call that 466. Which meant we actually came out with a profit of $308 yesterday. It's all good. Keep that rolling. Everything will be fine. And just a quick update on where we are today, if I can get that number to show. Oh, there it is. 477. So it's about 12:30 lunchtime. So 477. So yeah, hopefully we should be maybe on target for a similar sort of figure for today, if all goes well. Okay, so let's talk about those that first 30 days. I mean, it's great. Obviously, once you've got a good bit of data, you can start to see where things are going, and also where we want to focus next. And obviously it becomes easier as you've got them from 1 month's data to 2 months to 3 months. You can really start to see the trajectory of things and see how things move and change, because obviously nothing stays the same. Even if your ads stay the same performance, they get put in front of different people, and everybody behaves differently. So there are always going to be fluctuations. So when you're doing lots of sort of tests, they are always pretty much a guide as to what to do. Say nothing's an absolute and nothing's a given, which means that's why you have to keep looking at things and understanding what to do and what to tweak. But let's have a look at that 30 days. So previously I shared this with you, but it was hadn't really got the full month's data in, but we've got that now. So there are two parts to this, really. The first part is this that will actually change as we go through the months, and this will probably now get updated every sort of 2 weeks, but more importantly is once a month, and see overall. So this is the bigger picture of where we are in terms of what is our sales target, what is our profit target, what are our current sales to date, how far have we still got to go in order to hit that target, what percentage of the journey are we along, what profit we've made to date, what is our target, and again how far we've made on our journey to profit, because obviously we want the sales and profit to track equally. That's what it's about, or if anything else, we want this profit number to actually be higher than sales if possible. I mean, last year it wasn't anywhere near, but obviously here we've got it tracking much closer together, and that's good. If you think about it, this is a 12-month journey, so we're looking it's about 8 point something % a month to be on target. So in sales term, in that first month, we're actually slightly now ahead of our overall annual target. And I say the profit wise, again, it's slightly over where we are on an annual basis, but it's very slightly lagging behind our sales, because I say we want this 50-50 split. So we end up the year at the 240 sales and 120 in terms of profit. Okay, so now we get into the second part, and this is what will build month by month. So this is just the first month, and I could just do this as an end of month number, but I'm sort of splitting it into halves, so we're looking at it every 2 weeks. That's often because there's different split tests running, and I want to try and see which of those split tests is combining with things. Also, I don't want to get too out of touch with what's happening. So looking at these numbers in a bigger picture every couple of weeks is a good way of looking at it, and obviously stops me obsessing about what's happening on a day-to-day basis, which is good. So we've got summary numbers here for leads. Now, obviously, we had a higher number at the first half of the month, but that's because we were running a retargeting campaign. So retargeting people who didn't buy, retargeting them with the opt-ins. But, as you see from previous videos, actually, although we managed to get leads at a very sort of low cost rate, we found that those sort of leads didn't really convert into sales. So we probably spent money there that didn't really materialize it into anything. But that's not to say we won't come back to it. But at the moment, the second half of the month was really leads gathered just purely organically. So this is either from our blog site or from YouTube channel. And what I'm going to do tomorrow is do really a sort of a sales sort of breakdown as to what comes through each channel. So what comes through organic traffic, what comes through retargeting, what comes through the upsell, so we can see the overall picture. Because I need to get that picture clear in my head as we start to dig into more details, so we can have a look at going, okay, well, let's have a focus on just that small component and see if we can increase the numbers on that. So number of customers we increased in the second half of the month, but our ad spend did go up a bit as well with that. So I've got it in the UK because obviously that's what I'm spending in pounds, but then converted that to US dollars. Front end sales from that, and then the front end profit. So this is when I say the front end profit, this is actually revenue generated effectively in the same day, or in the first sort of probably first 3 to 5 days maximum. So we'll work out that, and then obviously we've got our CPA, cost of customer acquisition. That's a number obviously we're trying to continually drive down. The average order value, that's something we're trying to drive up. And as you can see, although our cost of acquisition came down in the second half of the month, our average order value slipped a little bit, not by much, but it did. And then we've got our total sales, and then our back-end sales. So obviously what we've looked at is over the 2 weeks what came with front end and back end, and therefore what was left actually was just purely the back end sales. So this is through email marketing and email automation. It's an area that I need to do a lot more work on, and I've started to do that. If you look back at previous videos, I've started to put in this idea of this spotlight on particular courses. I need to expand that out, and I need to put that as part of an automation as a follow-up. And then, because this is a big opportunity here. You see, I mean, in my my back-end sales is only really representing about 10% of my overall sales. So I think there's a great opportunity to do a lot more with that. But anyway, those are our overall numbers, and we get an overall profit for the month, which was fantastic. Absolutely delighted with that, and it's all great, but I don't take anything for granted with these things. I'm going to keep working at it hard. So the other thing I've looked at is this lifetime customer value. So as we know, customers may take 10 days to convert, may take 30 days, may take sort of 60 days. So what I want to do, this is a look at a slightly longer picture, and this is something that I'll look to plot over time to see if generally the trend is increasing. Because I say these are our key metrics: this CPA, AOV, LTV, and obviously ultimately is how much profit is the entire funnel making. So that's that bit of it. And then the other piece is to actually identify the split tests that I've run during the month. Now these are all also documented in more detail on my blog site, and obviously in the videos as we've been going through the month. But that's just a reference point for me, so I can just sort of reflect. I know where we've come from. I know what we did in the month. Because there'll be some things, obviously we'll be constantly coming back. As you can see, I've separated them into AOVs, average order values, cost per acquisition, average order value. So these are things that I need to start to look at and drill into. So that's the overall picture of where we're at on the 30 days. Overall, all looking good, but obviously it does start to highlight the fact of a real sort of weak area and potential for growth is in the back-end sales. So so that's where I'll be looking at. So as I say, we've run a whole series of split tests. I've still got one split test currently running. That's that upsell split test. But actually, when I look at the things of the goals for the next 30 days, I'm sure I'll be looking at ads as well, trying to see whether those initial ad split tests that I did with mixing up some different types of ads worked. I'll no doubt need to add some more creative in during the coming month. But also I really want to get into the back end side of things, into what happens after those customers first join, or still obviously with those leads that we're getting, can I slowly encourage them into becoming customers by using automation. So there's work to do, but the beauty about doing anything on the automation side of it is once it's done, it just sort of sits there, and it just works. The thing that made a massive difference, I think, overall was work on that cart abandon sequence that I talked about, and also then extending that sequence to putting a discount. I've seen a couple of customers come through from that. So again, that's more recovered sales, and we'll get into the detail of that. I'll share more on that tomorrow with you, where we look at actually where the revenue has come from in a breakdown, which should be interesting for me as well. One more slight sort of challenge I've got is VAT now, because obviously the turnover's increased. I now have to register for VAT, which means it's a 20% sales tax. And whilst I can claim the VAT back on the Facebook ad side, I've not yet got an understanding of the impact this will have. Inevitably, it will hit profits to a certain level, but I need to be a little bit further on before I decide whether I need to change my pricing as a consequence of this added sales tax. But we'll come to that as we progress through the coming month. Okay, so quite a bit in that, but hopefully some good, useful stuff for you there. And as I say, I'll catch up tomorrow, and we'll dig into the real sort of where all this revenue comes from in the smaller chunks of it. What we can learn from that, and consequently where do we want to focus time and effort to get the most impact. All right, that's good. Enjoy your Sunday, and I'll catch up again soon. Bye for now.